If I'm answering your question honestly, it comes down to this millennial nonsense, okay? I'm going to throw a term out there for you. Ready? It's my favorite term. It's undeserved sense of entitlement. This is what we're experiencing all over the country these days. People think they're owed something just for breathing. Whatever happened to the good old days of honest hard work? With that sense of accomplishment that you get from starting at the bottom and working your way up towards something. And competition. That's another thing. All these kids today, they're getting participation trophies just for showing up. Oh, hey, congrats, Timmy. Thanks for coming. Here's a trophy. You know, in my day, it's awful, and it teaches them nothing. When I was younger, we had winners and we had losers. And losing builds character. Look at the Bad News Bears. They lost. Okay, now Hollywood wants to shove these stories down your throat, the fantastical stories about how everybody's a hero. Every little kid is a hero. Well, let me let you in on a little secret because I'm an old ass and I know. Not all these kids are going to be heroes. They're going to join the likes of the rest of us. Mid-30s, up to their eyeballs in debt, and trying to move on up to that deluxe apartment in the sky from their parents' basement. So, what do you say, Derek from Detroit? Does that answer your question?
You know, I listen to your show on a pretty regular basis, but I really have no idea why I waste my time. You are the most self-indulged person on the planet. I'm pretty sure the world would be a much better place without you.
Okay, and just like that, we're out of time. This is Dean Cahill. You are listening to WBRP The Burp in Chicago. I'll be back later tonight, and you can catch me again at 8 o'clock. Until then, be cool, Chicago.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to pull the Band-Aid off. We're going to have to let you go. 18 to 35-year-olds already have enough shit on their plate. They don't want to be lectured by you. We ran the data. They find you tiresome and unapproachable.
Rudy, for the better part of 15 years, this place has been my life, my partner, for better or worse. And now this is what I get? This is the last thread I have left in this shitty thing called life. Don't do this. Don't. Please.
Sorry. I'll let you mull it over a little. But then we gotta plan out the rest of the week. And what the future holds.
It's Dean Cahill back in the booth. It's 8 p.m. Thank you, Greater Chicago, and those tuning in around the country. So, big news. I'm getting canned. Can you believe that? After 15 years at this station, apparently, I'm getting canned. I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised, because that's the way it is in America today. In this country, the American worker is dead, the American dream is dead, and all that's left is a simmering reminder of what once was. And according to the station, we've got until the end of the week, so let's just see if we can milk this for every ounce I got left, all right? You know, I'm feeling kind of wild and off the cuff, so who knows what kind of shenanigans I could get into. Maybe I suppose I should do some type of, goodbye or eulogy to myself, Maybe that would even boost the ratings a little bit. Or it might make it worse. Who knows? I don't know what would be worse in this situation. I feel like I need a guest. I need a guest in here. Who's out there? Who's out there? Is that Mike? Mike. Mike is has been our custodial worker here since I started, and he's been sort of like the one constant in this place. So let's get Mike. We have to say custodial worker now because janitor is not correct. So, but let's get our custodial worker Mike in here, please, guys, from the booth. Let's go.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
So, Mike, we're the old we're the old men around the station, right? I feel like you've been here as long as I have, and I can't believe this is the first time we get to have an actual conversation. But I feel like it's better late than never, right?
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, what's your story? You married? Have a wife, kids?
Not at this time. No.
Okay. Well, pets, cats, dogs. You seem like the Labrador kind of guy.
No, unfortunately.
Well, then, what's the story of Mike?
Well, I had been living in Virginia for a number of years, and then I moved here to Chicago maybe about 20 years ago. I became a Cubs fan through osmosis, and I've been working here at the station for about the last 18 years.
Okay, Mike, we want more than that. This isn't like a new hire orientation, okay? We want to get to the heart of what makes Mike Mike. All right, now this reminds me, because I gotta ask, because this reminds me of a conversation we had a long time ago, about 15 years ago when I first started, and it's been bugging the shit out of me every day since. Okay, when I started at that time, I remember this conversation clear as day. You said that you were about 40. You were approaching 40, if I'm not mistaken. Now, if my math is correct, that would put you at about 50 or 60. Now, for you folks at home, if you took a look at Mike, you would never know. He looks like he walked off the set of a John Hughes movie, the cover of Teen People or something. You have never seen a more ageless face since Ralph Macchio. All right, and so I gotta just ask, what's your secret? I mean, what is in this? So what do you do? I mean, people take one look at me and they think I'm Father Time.
Good diet, I guess.
There's got to be something in that mop bucket water.
I don't know if I should really speak about it too much.
Well, now I'm interested.
I really shouldn't.
Don't bury the lead like that, Mike. It's like cutting a fart in an elevator and then leaving the rest of us to suffer with it. And if the opening bit was any indication, I've only got a week left, so be my guest.
All right. You see that picture on the wall?
This one?
Yeah.
For those listening at home, Mike is referring to a picture of Woodstock that we have here up on the wall. It's older than dirt, but it's got some vintage feel that gives our booth a little bit of cred.
There's a gentleman with glasses about 3 rows in on the left. Immediately to his left, that's me.
This is supposed to be you?
Yes.
No, you gotta be kidding me. This is bogus. You got a free-loving doppelganger is all. This photo's like 50 years old, or did you Photoshop this?
No.
I know there's a trick or something. I mean, it's a prank. I can't place it, but you're putting me on.
No tricks. That photo was taken August 16th, 1969.
Now you're just giving me word problems here. Because if this is true, then that would put you at about 80, like something like 80 years old, like you born in 1939?
Not exactly.
Well, you're going to have to explain this to me in simpler terms because I don't understand. Either my eyes are deceiving me or my brain is deceiving me or both, okay? So how old are you really?
258 years old this past September.
You said that with a straight face without laughing.
I know that it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. We still on the air?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, folks, but I'm just trying to determine whether or not I think Mike is lying or on PCP. And I don't know. I need to hear more on this. So how about we back up for a second here, Mr. Millennium, and why don't you tell me why we should believe you?
You don't have to believe me, but it's true.
Okay, now let's start at the top. You were born in Virginia, so let's go from there.
No, I said I lived in Virginia.
Okay, so where were you born?
Near the Chesapeake Bay in what's now considered Maryland, 1759.
And you actually believe that?
I keep saying this. I believe it because it's true.
All right, well, let's go with this. In fact, I'm going to actually back up a second and let you explain to us how this is all possible and how it all works. How is it possible for a man to be as old as you claim to be?
I don't really know.
How do you not know?
I really don't. You know, through a series of events, it just kind of happened.
Okay, well, how did you first come to realize this, that you were different or special? I don't know what the right operative word here is.
It's a very long and winding story. You know, somewhat embarrassing, really.
I'm all for embarrassing stories, and we've got the time.
Oh, man, I don't know why I still get so embarrassed by this, but... You know, maybe it's because I had a weak moment, and... You know, now I'm old enough to realize that the things that I was worrying about at the time are things that, you know, we all go through. But to start at the beginning, I was the middle child of 5 born to poor farmers. In, let's just say, a tumultuous time in history. I got to witness the foundation of this country being built brick by brick. You know, but with that came hardships, struggles, war. Like so many young men my age, I found myself in the throes of freedom and liberty in the Revolutionary War. I was a coward. I hated the idea of death. It consumed me every hour of the day. There were times, like even in almost like a psychedelic state, I wanted to jump out of my own skin and join the stars and live forever. War is a dastardly violent ordeal. See, the weaponry wasn't as sophisticated as it is now. It was brutal, it was terrifying, it was dirty. You see, a musket bullet doesn't pierce the skin. It obliterates the flesh. You know, I found myself in a situation that I didn't think I could get out of, so I ran. I ran as far as I could. And in my travels, I met a Susquehannock tribesman who told me of this ancient ritual that was supposedly release the fear of death. You know, I was terrified, I was frightened, I believed him. I paid him what little money I had, and you know, weeks, months, years went by out, I didn't feel any differently. So I moved on, got a bit of land, started a family, and went on with my life. But the thought of death never left my side. Until I started to notice that everyone around me started to get older. Meanwhile, my appearance hadn't changed. I became an old man in a young man's body.
I don't know, but I'm starting to believe you. I mean, I know it's impossible and it's dumb, and you might just be so earnestly delusional, but my God, I mean, I'm starting to believe you.
Thank you.
But there are quite literally 1,000 questions flooding my mind right now.
You know, ask away. I'll try to answer everything as best I can.
Well, you've probably gotten to see a lot of shit in your life. I mean, like the Civil War, yeah, Prohibition, women's suffrage, Pearl Harbor, the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, JFK.
Sadly.
Yeah, I mean, like every major life-changing event you have gotten to experience.
Well, you know, when you say it like that, you make it sound a little bit more grandiose than it actually is.
Well, you don't think so? Well, I mean, please tell me you can acknowledge the magnitude of this extraordinary gift. You have to realize it's extraordinary.
Extraordinary, sure. But you know what? I stopped calling my condition a gift a long time ago.
Condition? You talk about it like it's some kind of disease. See, this is what I don't understand. You don't have an ailment. You have a superpower. Okay? Most people would kill to be in the position you're in right now. Don't you understand? To be able to conquer death?
No.
To laugh right in its face?
Oh, you're wrong.
Well, then please explain it to me, because I think we're all owed an explanation. We need an explanation.
How old are you?
38.
38. Okay. Well, do you want to be 38 the rest of your life? Watch your friends grow old and die? What about 70, 80, 90 even? Do you want to live forever with weak limbs and poor eyesight? What kind of life is that?
Well, come on, Mike. I mean, it's better than the alternative.
Is it really?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any kids?
No.
I've had 3. My youngest died at the ripe old age of 91. And that was 133 years ago. I can assure you, there is no greater agony than having a child, wanting the best for them, and knowing that one day they're going to die. Watching them live out their life, knowing what's coming. And then living long enough to experience it. Wishing that in an instant, you could trade places with them. Even at 91, they're still your baby. Dean, you need to understand something. It's death that unites us. It's the great equalizer. It's what gives your life its point. It's what gives your listeners their lives their point. We put so much stock into it because we know that it's fleeting. You know what it's like? Life is like a sandcastle. It's there just long enough for us to enjoy its beauty before it crumbles away bit by bit.
Oh, shit, Mike. I don't know. I think there's more to it than that.
But to your point, it isn't all bad. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I didn't get to experience some things that most people will never ever get a chance to in their lives. The rolling hills of Tuscany. The smell in the air. Those amber sunsets look like they just came out of a painting. People watching in Rockefeller Center. The architecture and structure of Vienna. And the best goddamn burger that I've ever had at this little hole in the wall in Annapolis. I've come to terms now that I can appreciate this heightened sense of bad as well as the good.
If you're just tuning in, we are sitting here with Custodial King and Superhuman Mike. All right, what about celebrities? What's the juiciest celebrity story you've got?
I don't have that many, surprisingly.
Oh, come on. You've got to have at least one.
I met F. Scott Fitzgerald once.
Oh, The Great Gatsby. I'd consider that juicy. How'd that all play out?
Oh God, it had to be 1922? No, 23. Back in the Roaring 20s, as they call it now. It was a interesting time. Decadent. Flashy might be the better word for it. Before everything went to shit. So anyways, we're up on the North Shore, in Long Island, Land's End, actually. And, my friend invites me to this party, and, we discover that we have a mutual acquaintance who is sitting with Fitzgerald. And he was polite, cordial, but he was preoccupied with the nut of a money-grabbing wife of his. So anyways, we're having a wonderful time. The night's still young, but I decide that I'm going to walk home, because, 20 minutes give me an opportunity to enjoy the summer weather. So I'm walking down Foster Ave. I stop for a moment, breathe in the summer air, take a look up at the stars, and all of a sudden I start to hear this heaving coming from behind me. So I give it a second, and the heaving is now turning into moaning. So of course I'm going to go check it out, because, what do I care? So there's this little Spanish-style vestibule, and lo and behold, there is Fitzgerald, butt up, 3 sheets to the wind, covered in his own mess. And naturally, the first words out of my mouth are, "Poor son of a bitch."
The infamous Great Gatsby line.
So I walked him home, more so dragged, and outside their house they got this little decorative fountain that I just spritzed water on his face and, let him sleep it off on a stone bench.
So what you're saying is you directly influenced one of the greatest pieces of American literature.
You said it, not me. So, anyways, that's my celeb story.
F. Scott Fitzgerald. Wow. All right. Why don't we start taking some calls? I'm sure there's tons of people out there with plenty of questions. If you're listening to us right now, give us a call. We're sitting here with a 300-year-old man. I feel like I'm at the circus here. Step right up, folks. Chat with the 300-year-old. All right. We got Elmer from Aurora on the line. Great name, Elmer. What's your question?
Yeah, so Mike, how does this work and all? Can you get sick or hurt or anything? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. And go Cubs.
Great. Right. Fair question. Right off the bat.
Yes, I can still feel pain, and from time to time I can get a fever or even, a stuffy nose. However, I am very fortunate that I don't have to suffer, with the same degree or magnitude that somebody else might. And I can heal pretty quickly somewhat as well. I don't know if I should be admitting this, but, from time to time I have taken a sick day without actually being sick.
Mike, you monster! Well, so you've been around for hundreds of years, and you're saying you've never almost accidentally drowned or gotten hit by a car or been mugged on the subway?
Oh, no, sure, yeah. I mean, I've had accidents, but, through either biology or some type of divine tribal intervention, I somehow have, for the most part, remained unscathed.
Fascinating. Brad from Cincinnati, you're on the line with Mike and Dean Cahill, the boy wonder. What's your question?
Thanks, Dean. Love the show. So forgive the terrible pun, but I'm dying to know, have you ever tried committing suicide? And if so, what's it like?
Thanks for being a downer, Brad.
I've thought about it, sure. You live for almost 300 years, your mind can head all kinds of places. But after all these years, I'm still a coward. How would I do it? What if I screwed it up? Would it even work? Nowadays, I just don't see a point to it. I don't know if we get wiser with age or if we just get some type of perspective, or maybe it's both. But, I've come to terms with the cards that I've been dealt. I've seen younger and better men come and go before me, each of them with a story more interesting than mine. And maybe that's why I'm still here, to make sure that goes on. That the memories of the people and the places of the past can live forever. I don't know, but I'd like to think that.
Thank you, Brad. All right, let's go back to the phones. Looks like we've got a lady from, Richmond. Okay, Richmond, Virginia. Hello, Richmond. What's your question?
Hello, Mike.
Hello, who's this?
This is Diane.
Diane, I'm sorry, do we know one another?
We did. Once.
Diane, I apologize, but I'm having a little bit of difficulty placing it.
Does the name Margaret Bannister sound familiar? It should. You were engaged to be wed about 58 years ago. Do you remember Margaret?
Yes, I remember.
I heard you speaking on the radio, and something sounded so familiar in your voice. Somebody I once knew. I couldn't place it because it couldn't have been this man from so long ago. I thought it was a crazy idea to believe you were still alive. You were old for her then, Michael. You would have to be a man in your hundreds now. It couldn't have been you. But then I heard your Fitzgerald story, and it confirmed every terrible suspicion I had. I remember you telling our family that story one night over dinner. We were all amazed. Margaret was amazed. My sister was madly in love with you, Michael. But one day, in early August, she received a telegram. Without warning, you decided to leave, with no real explanation, no closure. You might as well have torched the ground she stood on when you left. She was so crazed and so deeply in love, she couldn't bear to go on living without you. She killed herself that summer. She decided that it was better to die than to go on living without the one true love of her life, Michael. I hope that hurts you, knowing how you crushed her soul. You are the source of my pain and grief for the last almost 60 years. She could still be alive and have lived out her life, had a family with the true love of her life. You robbed her of that.
Diane, I loved Peg endlessly, but I didn't want to have her suffer the agony of living.
You can sit there and wax and wane poetic about this and that, and this delusional meaning of life crap you're feeding these people. You have no idea how often I prayed for the chance to say this to you. You are a cancer. I hope some type of Almighty finally grants you your wish and you drop dead knowing you're a cancer. Do you hear me? You're a cancer. A cancer!
All right. But that's enough of that. Well, some invigorating stories we've heard here today. I'm going to have to wrap this up, but tomorrow, join us here at WBRP, The Burp in Chicago. We'll have Mike back on tomorrow. We'll have the fascinating conclusion to this wacky thing we call life. I'm Dean Cahill. Be cool, Chicago. She's wrong, Mike.
No, she's not.
How you holding up?
Yeah. I'll be fine. You?
Great. Better. I gotta tell you, man, if it's one thing I learned from this whole experience today, it's gotta be some kind of perspective, you know? Don't take too many things for granted. You never know. I wasn't kidding in there, though, when I said you were a superhero of some kind. I mean, what you did today is going to change a lot of lives for the better. I'm certain of that. I mean, who knows? The station might even reconsider. There's more of this this story to tell. You know, like the many tales of Forever Mike, or Everlasting Mike, or My Mike Must Go On. You know, it's something like that. It's there. We'll find it. Anyway, you need a ride?